Hey guys, I'm back, and this is a barrel and blade level in 2, and I'm not gonna lie, it kind of sounds like Legos. So while I am simultaneously kind of disappointed that this is a level 2 box, I'm also pretty excited that it might be Legos. I don't know. What do you guys think? So yes, the air conditioner off in the corner of the yard is going furiously because, you know what, I won't say it's hot, because I know we've got people that live in the Southwest. So, you know what, it is what it is, but it's going to be on and off as we go through the video, and for that I apologize. So take your time, and please be subscribed, and please notifications on, and please like videos, or dislike videos, depending on what you think. Don't dislike the video because you don't like what's in the box. Dislike the video because you don't like me. Let's be fair, okay? But comment, share with your friends, and all that stuff, because that's like the YouTube thing to do. So thank you. So let's get into this incredibly small level 2 box for September 2023, and let's see what's going on. So we got 1, 2, still no Legos. I'm actually kind of upset that there's no Legos. All right, so we've got Operation 75, tactical and survival. Interesting. Not tactical survival, but tactical and survival. So let me just do my quick check, and if you do not have a Devo Mash in your little arsenal, it's a great EDC. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but I think that these count as 1. So let's see what we've got. So just a quick reminder for anybody that's not familiar the way Barrel and Blade works, you've got level 1, you've got level 2. Level 2 will include more stuff. They'll include fancier versions of what's in level 1. This time we've got looks like just more stuff. Yeah. So let's get to it. You know what? I'm gonna start right here because I don't know. Because I am. So Bird, if you're not familiar, this has been, Spyderco has had a budget line, a budget-friendly line, longer than just about any other high-end knife brand I can think of. Now, I could be wrong. I mean, I might be wrong. I'm saying that I can think of, but I remember buying Bird knives back in like 2010 maybe, and thinking to myself, wow, that looks just like a Spyderco box, but different colors. Instead of the Spidey hole, they have the little wing. So you'll find some very Spyderco looking designs, but they are all made in China. They're usually made, because this does have the look, you know, of a Spyderco knife. Imagine that was just a hole instead of the little wing. But they're made in China. They're usually made of some lower end materials. But I'll tell you what, for real, I have Birds. I have the Cara, the Cara 2, the I can't remember. I have a few more. They're in storage with like the majority of my knife collection right now. This is the Robin 2. They're all Bird themed, you know, of course. You definitely know the difference between a Spyderco and a Bird. Someone who doesn't really know any better might think that a Bird is an actual Spyderco. Even, I mean, they fall into the same house, you know. But they're not bad. They're not great. They're not bad though. You can definitely see a little bit difference in the production standards. I often say that, like for example, WE and Civivi is a lower end under the same house as WE, and I say the production standards are all the same. You do find a little bit of a downgrade with Bird, but they're way more affordable than a Spyderco. But they're decent. So this is the Robin, the Wharncliffe. What do they put a price on this? $45. I guarantee you can find this for about half of the MSRP. 8CR13. I don't have anything out to test it with. I can tell you the blades come ready to cut out of the box. They're not bad in that effect. They're just, you know, you might find one. This one has no wiggle at all. You might find tolerances that aren't as tight as Spyderco. You might find these are not quite flush like Spyderco, but for a budget knife, they're not bad. You're getting your money's worth for the budget price. 4-way positionable clip, and EDC sized. I mean, not gonna do real big jobs with it, but You guys hear the siren in the background? Perfect timing for this box. I'm not mad about it. It's just absolutely, it's not going to hit that $45 MSRP. You're going to find it for less. I think I'm thinking of Endura. Maybe not Endura. Smaller than Endella. I can't think of it. I'll put it in text, but it's got all the comfort of that basic design because essentially that's what it is, just a different pattern on it. Same FRN handles and everything. Slightly downgraded steel. Not bad. I'm not upset with this. I'm not. It's a decent knife. And I will use it. I will. All right, so that's item number 1. Going down the card, now we have Tacticon Vented Chest Seals 2-pack. That's why it's 2. $37.50. So, okay, so getting into field medicine. If you don't know what a chest seal is, occlusive, meaning it covers and it makes a airtight seal kind of. Occlusive adhesive dressing for open chest wounds. So your chests only work, back up. Your lungs only work in your chest because your chest, your entire inner cavity, your body, abdominal cavity, thoracic cavity, that all exists in a vacuum. When you puncture that vacuum, things bad happen, like intestines tend to pour out. It's penetrating abdominal injuries are terrible. Also because they are huge body cavities that can fill up with blood. That blood puts pressure on organs. That's really bad. But what's really terrible is the thoracic cavity, or the inside of your chest, also needs a perfect vacuum to function. If you have penetrating chest trauma, not only are you worried about the damage to the organs beneath, not only are you worried about blood filling up in that space, you're also worried about outside air pressure ruining that vacuum. Your lungs cannot fill and expand in normal air pressure in atmosphere. That's where an occlusive chest seal comes in. What it will do is it will seal that hole. And through either natural methods of you exhaling or through decompression, medical decompression, you can return that chest cavity. Now, what we usually do is they'll have some kind of valve. Does this have a valve? I don't know, but usually a good chest seal does, a one-way valve. So what will happen is air will be able to be expelled from the chest cavity, but it won't let any back in. So you can return the negative pressure, the vacuum, to the thoracic cavity so the lungs can function, can open and close, and they can at least begin to... Now, this doesn't fix any kind of trauma internal, okay? It doesn't stop internal bleeding, but what it does is allow the lungs to continue to function, to open up with breath. It allows the alveoli inside the lungs to receive air, to get oxygen, because regardless of whatever else is going on, if you lose that negative pressure inside the thoracic cavity, lungs can't expand, air can't come in. Somebody could suffocate to death like that while they're bleeding and all that other stuff. So these are very important medical devices. In terms of trauma medicine, they're really not that old. They're only about 20, 25 years old. Not these. I mean, the whole adhesive occlusive, just slap it on type dressing. We used to have to make them. We used to have to make these in the field out of stuff. One of the things they taught me back when I was in medic school was take the guy's ID card and some tape and some gauze, because the ID card was laminated plastic. You use that to make your watertight, airtight seal, and then you wrap it up in gauze and tape and everything. I mean, so these are awesome compared to what we used to have to do. Sometimes you take the plastic, military dressings come wrapped in a thick plastic. You use the plastic, slap it over the wound. You'd have to wait until the right time when the person was in the process of exhaling so that as much of the air inside the chest cavity was gone, slap it on, and then tape it down, and then leave one corner. There was a whole process to it. These are cool because they are almost idiot-proof, but nothing is foolproof to a sufficiently talented fool, right? But these are very good to have. Like I said, the original ones out there that we used were the Asherman chest seals. They were pretty good. I don't know about these, but these are absolutely great to have. These are not first aid. These are trauma supplies, but awesome to have. As for the price, I'm sure you can pick them up a little bit cheaper, but again, awesome to have in case. You'd rather have them and not need them than need them and not have them. Next, Battle Torch Weapon Light. 6244, 400 lumens, several hours, 200 meters. All right, I have no idea. Tactic. I thought it said Trigicon for a minute. I was like, oh shit, we are fancy. Let's see, what do we got? Now, from working in the shop and from working with actual weapons, I am of the opinion, and so are many people I know, that a white light is of much more use than a laser. And I'm not going to get into a big debate as to why, but people who want to be fancy and have their lasers, that's great. In a tactical environment, hold a laser dot steady at a target, and go through a movable, not just a stationary, you're standing there. Go through like a shoot house with that laser as you're huffing and puffing and stuff, in the dark, and then just have a white light and be proficient with using your sights. See which one, if you had to have one, see which one is a better option to have. So I know some people have both. This thing's not charged at all. Charging time 60 minutes, standby time 3 years. That's important. You can have this thing sitting there for 3 years and the battery won't die on you. Working time 60 minutes. You should never just have it on all the time, by the way. I'm not going to talk to you about tactics with using it. I'll have to owe you a follow-up on this. It is very lightweight. Does it have adapters for other rail systems? Not really. That's another thing. So we'll do a follow-up using this. I like the switches. They feel good. I don't know what the instructions say, if there's like momentary where you click and it's... I guess you click and it is on, since they give you a 60-minute working time, but it's very low profile. I'm not sure what all platforms it sits on. I do like magnetic charging port though, OLite style. Easiest charging in the world, and you just grab it when it's done. That's cool. We'll follow up on this. I don't know. They have a lifetime warranty, and they give you a 25% off lifetime discount. Cool. I don't know. We'll have to follow up. We'll see. Next, combat tourniquet. $13. I like this pouch. This pouch is useful. Combat application. We just saw this tourniquet in something else. Again, I like the pouches. Is this thing going to get in here nicely? There we go. It's not fully seated, but that'll do. This is a very... this is, like I said, the combat application tourniquet is a copy of actually a foreign design, but it's a really good design. It's a really good design. I'm not going to open this one because it's nice and sealed and clean, but this little handle here and this wide strap is very good for multiple, different reasons. Number one, you never want a very thin piece of material restricting. I'm going to leave it at that. Nice wide semi-padded strap is better for tourniquet material for a number of reasons. Having this twist, though, really lets you put the appropriate amount of force that you want to stop that great vessel bleed. You can write the time of the tourniquet application on there. But I like to remind people, when I first went through training, the tourniquet was your absolute last resort to use. And now on a modern battlefield, it's like, in some scenarios, it's just like, just put the tourniquet on, because stations, all stations, we have medical items in the box. I repeat, medical items.
Better get the old man down here.
The president's in his limousine. They're diverting to Andrews. The vice president is out of position, and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs is on his way.
Priority traffic. We are now at DEFCON 3. Incoming medical ran. The reason it was the last resort was because typically, if you put a tourniquet on, let's say right here, because of the restriction of oxygenated blood down below, you're going to lose all that tissue. You're going to lose everything below the tourniquet, because that tissue is going to go through necrosis. It's going to be oxygen deprived, and it's going to die. So there's two things at play here. Number one, you have death of all this tissue. It's going to be useless. You're going to have to cut it off. Putting a tourniquet on for a period of time and then taking it off not in a hospital setting can result basically in the same results as something we call crush syndrome, which is where when you have dead tissues, right? Let's say something falls on my arm. I'm in a building collapse, and it reduced all the, it cut off the circulation, and all this tissue is dead. It releases certain toxins as the tissue dies, all the muscle tissue here. But it's being contained. As soon as they take the obstruction off of me, is why they call it crush syndrome. It's where it was all noted. All those toxins from the dying tissues race into my body, and it literally has the potential to kill me. So not only are we killing the tissue below it, but if that tourniquet is taken off, that's why we say that it's not only that we take the tourniquet off, we have the potential for renewed bleeding, but the potential for crush syndrome-like results to affect the rest of the body are high depending on how long we've had the tourniquet on. In the time between I went to medic school for the very first time in the mid-90s and now, the availability of emergency field medical transport combined with the time, the reduction in time of transporting that casualty to a frontline medical treatment that is able to provide that kind of treatment. I mean, so it's a factor of three things. Number one, the availability of treating, of evacuating that patient. We can evacuate that casualty much better than we ever had before. The chances of getting them off where they are and transporting them is much higher. Number two, the availability of higher level care in the field is much better than it was back when I started doing this medical stuff. Much, much better. We have much better stocked battalion aid stations, field surgical units. It used to be either there was a field hospital somewhere, like MASH. Remember MASH? There are combat support hospitals, but there are smaller, more mobile units that can get closer to the lines than they ever could before. Combine that with more availability of medical transport and faster, more reliable medical transport, and it's a whole new ballgame. So now they say, yeah, just throw that tourniquet on there, because the chances of us getting that casualty to a facility where they can properly handle that tourniquet and that injury before it becomes a major problem, a potential systemic problem, are much, much lower than they ever were before. So the truth is, I am not, people, when I say this all the time, why don't you make more medical videos? Because I am so far out of date with what these new kids in the field are doing. I would be the grumpy old man going, in my day, Sonny, we had to walk 6 miles in the snow uphill both ways to put a tourniquet on. I mean, it's night and day, and what these brilliant medics can do coming out of Fort Sam Houston today would blow my mind. They are 10 times the medic I ever was with what they are learning and what they can do in the field. The basics are always the basics, but the tools they have and the technique, they learn how to do needle decompression straight out of medic school. I didn't learn that till I was already in for like 5 years. That was such an advanced level skill. They are brilliant young kids coming out of Fort Sam Houston these days. I have so much respect for them, because it's not just a factor of learning more. It's the pressure of knowing what can go wrong with this advanced stuff. And 18, 19-year-old men and women from around the country that go to that school and they walk out, they have so much riding on their shoulders. And I still remember Sergeant First Class Norwood, our head instructor for our class. They divide you up into classes. They take your company, they divide it up into different classes. When he stood in front of the room, the first thing he said to us on day one was, "Privates, you are about to become the closest thing to God on the battlefield, because you will personally decide who comes home and who dies out there." And I was like, whoa, dude. Whoa. It's a big thing. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. But anyway, sorry. Back to tourniquets. So, the use of tourniquets out in the field today is much different than it was back when I was young, still grumpy that I'm not a scout, and learning how to do all this stuff. This is a good one, though. This is a very good design. I think it was either the Canadians or the Israelis who came up with the design that this one's modeled after. Because believe me, back then, the ones that I was using, the ones that we taught, were just wrap it around and tie it, in a bow. Tie it in a knot and hope it's good. So I like this hard case. This is supposed to be for Molly type stuff. I'm not a big fan of this. I'd rather have something that's a little bit easier to maneuver around. Just this. Like, I'd rather have there are better, you could put better attachment points, but this would go on your Molly compatible gear to keep it there. But I like this. This is cool. Are we done? We're done. And you know what? I like these plastic pouches, even though they're labeled already. They're decent. I mean, they're not super weight, but these Velcro pouches, I'll keep them for some other stuff, just for packing up my gear. Not fully waterproof, but fire starting kit, or just putting some tools together and throwing it in your bag. These bags are worth keeping too. So that's it, guys. That's a quick level 2. I feel a little bit let down that this is a level 2. MSP wise, I know they say it's $62 for the light. I know they say it's $37.50 for the 2 chest seals, but I feel a little let down for everything that they say this is a level 2. I really do. I went on a little bit about how important these are in a medical kit, but again, tourniquets are important in a medical kit, but this is it, huh? Where's the light? I'm not going to sugarcoat it in any way. I feel let down that this is a level 2 box. And I'm ready for you guys to share your letdown that this is the level 2 box. I like the individual items, but I feel like this is not a level 2 box. It's not. Yeah. And I mean, you could tell, like, it hit me totally by surprise. Like, what? We're done? That's it? Anyway, all right. I'm not going to go on and on because there we go. So, I want you guys to talk and comment on 3 different things. Number 1, what do you think of each individual item? Taken individually. Would you be happy if I put this in your hand, just saying, hey, here's this knife. You know, here's this tourniquet set. Hey, here are these chest seals. Here's this light. Just look at them as individual items. Now I want you to say, if this was your box, this was your level 2 box, now I want you to evaluate in terms of that, okay? Now I want you to look at it and say, you're filling out a bag, you're filling out gear that maybe you had some holes in some areas where you needed to fill. Do you feel like this would fill any of those holes for you guys? Do you feel like this would complete any of a kit that you needed or a bag you needed? You know, how does it do in that area? Yeah, and of course, feel free to chime in. Either you're disappointed in this being a level 2 box, or you're okay with it being a level 2 box. Let's hear it, guys. But we'll see how it goes. Anyway, thanks for doing this with me. I know I went off a little bit about medical stuff, but you guys probably expect that by now. Kind of, I don't know, some of you enjoy it, some of you don't. We will follow up with this light. Okay, I'll get it charged up and we'll see what it does. In any case, remember that you guys are all absolutely awesome, and I appreciate every single one of you. And I'll be back again real soon.